What's up? Hello to all of my friends and viewers. How's it going, guys? Today, I am back after quite some time. I know it feels like fucking forever. But this actually has been something I've been working on for quite a few days now. It's been just a constant, trying to get the proper footage and things like that. This video mainly reaches out to all of my private server players out there, especially those who are into 255 fun servers. 2 or 3 videos ago, I did a in-depth video for a new server I've been spending almost all of my fucking time on, called Oblivion-WoW. This server was recently a remake. A couple months back, it was, the owner split up of the old server, and the new, the owners that were more dedicated to this server developed this server, and it became one of the best servers I've ever played in. The community is absolutely awesome, and it's just a server that I definitely recommend anyone who's into 255 private servers to come check out. I will put a link right up here in the top left-hand corner for the video actually previously to this one. This is more of just an update video because since that time, there have been quite a few new updates, and I just wanted to keep everyone well aware and show how much even more awesome this server is. So, without further ado, why don't we go ahead and get started with some of the updates. Now, while you're listening to me, you guys will notice that I am running through Sunwell Plateau, which is actually the newest content that the owners have released for the newest generation of gear, Gen 4. And I will actually get more into depth with that, but one of the biggest things that this server always had a problem with was balancing of PvP. And instead of just, nerfing and adding resilience to gear and things like that, Devastator and Toon, who are the owners of the server, came up with the idea of adding gems. Now, these are basically prismatic gems that you add into your gear, and with this allows you to add resilience to your gear and make things a little more balanced. It's not 100%, but it's kind of hard to balance things like that. So we have actually 5 tiers of gems, but the big 3 ones are really the only ones you need to worry about right at this moment. And the first one is obviously just the regular plain one, the easiest one to farm. And with this, you get plus 62 resilience and plus 62,000 stamina. It seems like a lot, and actually it is, but the thing is that this only works in PvP zones, so Battlegrounds, I believe arenas, but it doesn't work in instances or anything like that. So, overall, I recommend getting this, especially if you're into PvP. Next up, you have 77,000 stamina and 77 resilience. And then the third tier is 96,000 stamina and 96 resilience. Now, each of them do require a certain amount of, effort in order to getting them. The first one is the easiest one, which is the tier 1, the 62,000. This requires you to farm apprentice tokens, and apprentice tokens are dropped off of the mobs of the starting zone, and you just go there and you slice them up, and you get about, I believe it's like close to 17 or 1800 to completely get your gem, because it's 75 apprentice tokens for each gem. Yeah. And then the next 2 require PvP tokens and honor. Now, most people don't go for the 77k because it's just easier just to farm and get the 96k. And 96k requires you to have 29,000 honor and 20 PvP tokens. Now, for every 100 PvP tokens you receive from doing Battlegrounds, you can trade that in for 16,000 honor. So it's actually real easy. You just do Battlegrounds with, friends, and with, when people are like, queue up for Battlegrounds, we definitely recommend you coming in. Even though with the fact that the server is definitely donor heavy, but that's just because, it doesn't require $300 to freaking get a full donor. So hopefully, that pays off, because even though donors do tend to, run the server, at the same time, it makes things a little more balanced, because, when you just have one donor in there, it kind of ruins everything. Whereas if you have 3 or 4 donors, 2 and 2 against each other, it kind of helps balance out the teams to help make things fun. So that actually was their biggest way of balancing PvP. And like I said, there are actually 2 additional tiers. There's tier 4 and tier 5. Tier 4 is 120 Resil and 150 or 120k stamina, and then there's also a 150 Resil and a 150k stamina. These both require you to get 22, I believe it's 2200 resilience, which requires you to have all 96k gems. So it does require a bit of farming, but that's just because they want you to enjoy it. You know, if everyone had the same Resil, it's too easy, man. They want you to have a little bit of a challenge. So that is their way of balancing PvP, and quite frankly, it's quite a unique idea, and I definitely recommend doing that. Next up, like I said, we have Gen 4. Now, there's actually two forms of Gen 4. What you guys see me doing here is Sunwell Plateau, and Sunwell Plateau drops all Gen 4 gear for all classes, including weapons. And then you also have S Gen 4, which is actually the quote-unquote PvP gen gear, and this is actually equivalent to the Plus Donor, which is not the best donor weapons, but just the regular donor weapons. It's equivalent to that. So that way it kind of, to those who can't really donate, but they want some pretty decent weapons, that's what the S Gen is for. It's for PvP. I was hoping they would make like a PvP type gear, but they decided to implement the gems instead, and I've actually begun, it's grown on me. So, that's definitely cool. And Sunwell Plateau is actually really cool. It does require you to complete Black Temple. And to those who don't know, there are actually 3 tiers. You have Generation 1, which is farmed by Apprentice tokens, which is actually from my previous video. And then you go into Molten Core. And Molten Core, you get Gen 2. After Gen 2, you have to farm Lava Cores, which drop off of random mobs in the raid. And you need 200 of those to get into Black Temple. And then once you get to Black Temple, you get Gen 3. You farm Gen 3, and you farm Ghost Cores. Ghost Cores, you need 200 of those, plus the completed quest, which means you have to kill Illidan, and you have to kill Onyxia. And once you kill both of them and get 200 Ghost Cores, you can go into Sunwell Plateau. That's why this video is taking me so long, because I was farming it on my warrior, because my warrior is actually a full donor, and because of that, I never had to farm the cores and stuff like that, but I wanted to go ahead and experience it to help my friends, guildies, things like that, so I went ahead and did it. Now, it's actually very easy. Unlike in, retail, Sunwell Plateau does not require you to have a full, set, a full raid with a healer, a tank, a DPS, etc., etc. But the cool thing about this, unlike other 255 fun servers I've played on, is the fact that anytime a donor comes into an instance, they seem to rule everything. They tend to blow everything apart. Not so much on this server. They do make a difference, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to the more closer content gear, like Sunwell Plateau, it actually, I still get wrecked. I mean, you'll see me die, I think, like 4 times against this boss. So, the balance between it all makes it a lot more fun. And the community, of course, is obviously what keeps you there. But lastly, in order to get these S Gen 4 items, you have to get S Gen 4 tokens. Now, these tokens are dropped off of 8 of the different world bosses that each have a 90-minute respawn timer. And they do require you to get some sort of party. It doesn't necessarily have to be a huge raid, but get some sort of party. You kill these world bosses, and then they drop the tokens. And you have 3 kinds. Obviously, you have the Brave, which is for plate wearers. You have the Swift, which is for those who use agility. And then you have the Celestial for those who use intellect. And basically the way it'll work is you have to get that token, plus you have to get the Generation 4 weapon of what you're trying to get, and then you have to farm honor. It requires 75k honor. They're not trying to make it easy, guys. Come on. So you just have to farm those items, and with that, you have the ability to get your S Gen 4 weapons. And this, the most recent content update has been really phenomenal. And, it definitely changes the way things roll on the server. They were looking for things to be balanced. They want to keep coming up with content. That's why in this raid, they drop Majestic Cores. And Majestic Cores clearly show that they're coming up with another content down the road. So we are definitely looking forward to that. Me and everyone else on the server, we're always looking for new content because they want to keep the private server going. And that's why I'm making this video, to help this server grow. If you have not played on this server, please, please, please give it a chance. It is awesome. I play on the server all the time. All of my characters are pretty much the same. I go by the name Ashtarn. It's just a name I've kind of grown on. Trianus has gotten old on me, but that's what you guys know me as, and that's what I'm going to stay as. So, look for anything named Ash. I normally am on my warrior, but I do play on my paladin, Ashtorn. This is Ashtarn. And then I have 3 other characters. I have a warlock, a mage, and a druid. My druid's name is Asgrim. My mage's name is, how the fuck do I pronounce it? Jerica. And then I have my warlock, who is Ionuria. So if you look out for those 3, I do spend most of my time on my warrior, but you'll constantly see people saying Ash, Ash, Ash. So just go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this video. Again, this was nothing more than an update content video. I will put a link to the website of the server in the description below, and I hope to see some of you guys come along and join us in the fun. As always, this has been your boy Trianus here, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace!